Good afternoon, Floss Tube friends. This is Lisa with Lady Huzzah Presents, Lady Huzzah on Instagram. I am here today with my Floss Tube number 4, and boy, it's going to be a big one, and it will be full of eye candy. I'm calling it my merry-go-round because I am featuring designs and finishes I have from Mary Cox. Mary Cox has been a designer that has really influenced my needlework career or my needlework love over the years, and I have many finishes of hers, and people often see them and are pretty wowed by them. They're just beautiful. Not really because of me, it's because of Mary's designs. But anyway, we'll get to that in a little bit, but first I have some old business to go over, and that would be my winners of the waxes. The waxers from my last video, very generously donated by Teresa Janjanin of the Wax Thread. This is Teresa's card. Definitely check her out on Facebook. Her waxers are amazing. Her customer service is excellent, and she is so reasonably priced and very generous, very creative. So anyway, the winners of my waxes were Presby Mom, and Presby Mom won the patriotic with the stars and the flag, and her comment said, "One of the things I enjoy about your floss tube is that you work on such a variety of samplers that I don't see elsewhere. Stars, hearts, and tin. Oh my, I'm very interested in your daily temperature tree, and I think I will do one next year. Blessings." So there you go, Presby Mom. Those are for you. Then the hearts were won by Debbie Barger, 1102. And she said, "I loved your floss tube. First time watching, but not my last. Love the stars, hearts, and tin." Thank you, Debbie. And these stars are for you. Fabric and Fables, 7025, won the little darling pincushion. I was so tempted to keep this for myself. Very cute. It can hang in one of those repurposed jewelry cases. Adorable. And her comment said, "Tins, stars, pincushion. Thank you so much. You're so talented. The drum is stunning. That little pincushion is the cutest thing I've ever seen. Also, that shaker box was amazing. Thank you for another video full of fantastic finishes." Thank you so much. And again, you'll have to reach out to my email and let me know that you won, and I will and give me your address, and I will have it sent out to you. Then the little tin of wax was won by Brenda Holzman, 4560. And she said, "I have no words. What an inspirational video. You are not only enticed us with your wonderful little smalls, but gave us your great tutorial to boot. I do have a question to ask. Did you stitch the Afghan on your couch? Stars, hearts, tin, and pincushion." She's referring to this sampler blanket. No, I did not stitch it. It's from Williamsburg. I purchased it in Williamsburg years ago, and it's one of those woven cotton blankets that were so popular a number of years ago. So anyway, a couple other things, some floss tubers that I've been watching lately. You might want to check out Mama Loves You GB, Michelle. She recently finished an amazing foursome of Santas, but she framed them in like a window pane. They're stunning. You need to check that out. Also check out Running with Needles and Scissors, my friend Sylvia. She had a floss tube video, but then she also had another video with her expo releases, and they are beautiful. They knock it out of the park. Another floss tuber that I've really enjoyed watching recently is Lara. Her floss tube is Textile. She is adorable. She has great stitching, and she jumps right in there, and I don't really think she's afraid to try anything. She's really entertaining to watch and very sweet. Another floss tuber, Stitching in My Pajamas, Beth. She shows some great samplers. She now also has a business with her sister, and her business is called My Sister's Samplers. And it was a very great informative video, and I can't wait to see what else Beth does in the future. Congratulations, Beth, for joining the Floss Tube community. It's a great community, so supportive, and I think you'll really enjoy it. The other one is Country Stitchers. That's Deb and Liz. Deb's home was recently featured in Country Sampler magazine. They always have fun things to show. They are very nice, friendly to watch, and just have some beautiful things to share with you. The other one, of course, I've been watching is Brenda and the Serial Starter. That's Brenda and Laura. They have great antics together and lots to show. And I always enjoy seeing when a new video from Brenda and Laura pop up. Okay, so that's what I have going for now. So you might wonder why Mary Cox? Why am I featuring Mary Cox today? Well, once I started doing my floss tubes with my floss tube number 1 a few months ago, I started reflecting on my stitching journey over the years. I really never remember not stitching something. I've always had a needle in my hand. As a child, my mother always called me Busy Lizzie. I've always been creative and stitching. But Mary Cox has really captured me as one of those designers that is tried and true over the years. She is a delight. I love taking classes from Mary. Most of her designs are taught by class, although she does have some publications that her designs have been in, and I will show those later because I know that once you see this video, you're going to want to do some Mary pieces yourself. So anyway, cheers to you, Mary. I've got some rosé bubbly, and this one's for you. I'm so excited to share Mary with the floss tube world. So here, cheers. This will take quite a while. I don't know how long. I'll just keep talking. If you need to, when you watch, if you need to stop and come back another time, that's great, but it truly won't disappoint. So cheers to you, Mary. Love you, my friend, and I can't wait to take the stitchers on this journey that I have traveled with you over the years. Cheers, Mary. I had to put that aside so I don't spill it on anything. So a number of years ago, Mary, well, let me tell a little bit about Mary first. The name of her company is From Mary's Heart, and she named it that because each piece she designs comes from her heart. Mary always includes some kind of a poem or a verse, very sentimental. Her pieces are very endearing. And they're just pieces that when you see them and she tells you the story about the piece, you just have to have it. Mary started out as a collector of needlework tools and accessories. She enjoyed using them with her stitching, in her stitching bag, and had it in her different projects. Well, she had this one small case in particular that held a spool and a small pair of scissors, and she was using that, and it started to wear even more. So she wanted to reproduce it for herself and then have it ready to go in her sewing basket again. So she took it apart, tried to find out what made the stiffness of it just the way that she wanted it. And when she opened up the piece, she saw a postcard in there dated 1910 with a 1-cent stamp. So Mary was trying to find what she could use to be the support in the one that she was reproducing. So she tried some vintage postcards and everything, and that didn't really work. They were too brittle. So she ended up getting a reproduction postcard, addressed it to herself, and stamped it and mailed it back to herself, and then used that to stiffen her needlework accessory that she made. So anyway, that was back, I'm not quite sure what year, 1998, or not, excuse me, 1988. Mary started doing these designs, and she taught at the EGA National Seminar. I believe that was her first leaflet that she sold. Sadly, I don't have that leaflet. I wish I did. but that's what really launched her career. Prior to that, Mary had taught in quilt shops. She also is a very accomplished sewer. She taught in quilt shops. She was also the USA representative for Eva Rosenstand from Europe. And you could get Eva Rosenstand kits through Mary at that time. So anyway, fast forward to the class that I first took from Mary. She's taught at numerous EGAs, sampler guilds, needlework festivals, Spirit of Cross Stitch. So back years ago, I was going to a Spirit of Cross Stitch festival, and my friend Debbie, who lives in Buffalo, New York, told me that I had to take this class from Mary, that she was a great new designer, and that I had to take this class. So this was the first piece that I took from Mary in 1996. It's called Where Thy Heart Belongs, and it's mounted in a Orleans Carpenter shaker box. And like I said, Mary always has sweet sayings or little poems. So this says, "Saith, where doth my heart belong? From hither with thee that's long." Wrought by Lisa Lyons Duff in September 1996. This is a piece I see every day. I usually have it on my dresser in my bedroom with just miscellaneous little papers or spare buttons that go on clothing that you buy, and they give you extra buttons and you don't really know what to do with them. So anyway, I see that piece every day. It was great. Mary is so personable, and the class really launched my need to take more classes from her. So moving right along. This was another class that I took from Mary in 1998. This was called the Williamsburg Sewing Case. I did take this class from her in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. And the name of the town, Cherry Hill, sounds like it would be so charming. This is no cut on Cherry Hill, but it's kind of like a city with that a highway goes through, and there's little strip malls and everything. But anyway, this was perfect. The little blossoms on the tree and everything are adorable. And on the back of it, I stitched Springtime at Sampler Gathering in Cherry Hill, April 1988, with RMK, SJT, CAB, and SJK. And those were the friends that I attended Sampler Gathering with. Well, when you open this case, it is just too precious. It's adorable. Here's a place that holds your scissors with a needle book. And on here, actually, I believe that we rewrote this verse, but it says, "Time spent with special friends is always time well spent." And so she also has this beautiful mattress pincushion on the side with the ribbon ruching. Mary's finishing directions are always fabulous. Very easy to construct, and a lot of her directions then carry on through other projects that you might do with her. And there's a beautiful little shoe button, antique shoe button on it. And Mary gives you all these supplies in her kits. So that was the next piece I did of Mary's. Then I also did this sampler sewing case. And I believe, I did this a long time ago. I believe the alphabet was also on the back, but I wanted to try my hand at making a little verse the way that Mary does. So I dedicated this to my husband, and on the back I stitched, "Every deep red berry brings to me the sweetness of a kiss from thee." And I have my husband's and my initials and our wedding anniversary, which was November 10th, 1990. These are all queen stitches that make up the strawberries on the border, and then it's cross stitch over one for the verse and the alphabet on the front. And then on the insides never disappoint. There's a needle book and then a sampling of different stitches to learn. And then again, a lovely mattress pin cushion. Okay. So, another year then, I think it was Sampler Gathering. I took another class from Mary, and this was the Sampler Band shaker box and accessories. Many of her kits come with a shaker box, and this one is just adorable. I'll show you all the little goodies on the inside. Here it is here. Mary teaches you how to line the box, which that's something that has really stayed with me over the years because I've lined many boxes over the years since this time. But this is just precious. The little pin cushion that dangles off the side. I see this was from 1997. So Mary often will make several accessories that have the same motifs. This has a little thimble inside. Here's a little pin disc. This holds a tape measure. Again, all beautifully lined. And Mary teaches you how to do all of this. And then here's the little sewing case that goes with it. So on the back of this, it says, "Behold thy heart, gentle and true. Lisa Duff and her work in thy year 1997. In fact, I entered this into a needlework show when we lived in Ohio, and I won first place. Might have been best of show. I kind of forget now, but I remember we were going into the needlework show, and I had little ones at the time. And my husband had our daughter with him, who was a toddler, and I was adjusting my son in his stroller. And my husband saw my design, my project, on a center table with ribbons hanging on it. And he was like, wow, check this out. And I think it finally, it really hit home for him then, how I cherished my needlework and that I really gave it my everything when I took my stitches. So he's really had an appreciation, even more of an appreciation for my stitching since that time. So anyway, moving right along. This piece was called the Victorian Carrier. I think Mary taught this at Spirit of Cross Stitch. I'm not sure, but this piece still really isn't finished, and I'll tell you why in a second. So this says, "Stitches reflect thy soul, bright and lovely be, give quiet to love's gentle beat, where heart and needle meet." And this has a whole band on the inside, some little black Victorian accessories that I've collected over the years. But what is so cool about this is that there's a mattress pin cushion attached to the side. And then on this side, there is a little box that holds a Needlebook. So precious. So precious. And again, the finishing is super easy. Okay, so this is where I went down the wrong road with this. There was a little scissor fob, which I finished. And there's all of these like lazy daisy stitches and that kind of thing, and buttonhole flowers. That's not always my favorite to do. Here's a little bag. Okay, so for a few years after we took this class, Mary would come out with an accessory every 6 months or so. And one of my friends said to me, I was stitching them and finishing them. And then one of my friends said to me, "Oh, what I'm doing is I'm stitching all the black parts on the accessories, saving them to do all the flowers, and then I'll put it all together at the same time. Well, my friends, this was stitched in 2000, and I don't have all those accessories together yet. I believe they're all stitched, but stay tuned. I am so motivated now to do the rest of those accessories and fill my carrier. It's a piece I've always loved. The carrier is all lined on the bottom. It's just exquisite. And I have to do those accessories. So now I've told my husband that Floss Tube holds me kind of accountable, because now I need to finish some of these things instead of just talking about finishing these things, so I can share them with all of you. Okay, so then here's another piece. This little box, this little sweetie, is called 10 Nice Sheep. And of course, I always have to collect all little sheep, little doodads then. But this is just a simple band. This was stitched in 2000. This was a simple band with a pin cushion called 10 Nice Sheep. And it shows the little shepherdess there after her sheep. And there's some grapes. Mary's family used to have grow grapes to make raisins. So she has incorporated those in some of her designs. But since I have stitched this, I think Mary has reworked this design to include a needlebook. I don't have that because my kit just had enough linen and threads and such to do this. But I think people that have this kit now have it with a little needlebook in it. So this was 10 Nice Sheep, and that's also in 2000. Okay. Here's another special piece. You know, in 2000, everybody was all hepped up about the millennium and, you know, entering a new millennium. And this one was called Americana Sewing Case. And this is just adorable. So I used to have a group of stitchers that I would get together with when I lived in Ohio. And we stitched this. This says on here, "Wave thy flag, brave and tall. America abounds with freedom for all." And we stitched this in the year 2000. And on the back put Independence Day. And one of our friends, who has sadly passed away now, she changed a little bit up at the top here and made flag bunting, which was just really cute for this. And here's the inside of the case. It says, "It's a grand old flag and sweet land of liberty." And of course, that's when you could buy scrimshaw pieces made out of ivory, and many of these kits have, have ivory pieces in them. Super fun to do. This is one of those star detailers that they used to have for helping to pull threads through other stitches on the back of your piece. Super fun to do. And then, of course, we had to take it one more step. So we made a little band for the inside of the box. This was not part of the kit. But here, let me zoom in on that. And on this band, it says, it's all stitched over one. It says, "America, my country, 'tis of thee. Sweet land of liberty, of thee I sing. It's a grand old flag, oh beautiful, let freedom ring." So this was a lot of fun to do. And that is Americana Sewing Case. I have to say that showing all of you these pieces is honestly making me a little bit emotional, because it takes me back to different points in my life when I was stitching with friends in different places that I've lived. I've lived in Pennsylvania. I've lived in New Jersey. I've lived in Pennsylvania. I've lived in Ohio. And now 2 different homes in Virginia. I've been in Virginia since 1999. But it really is making me reminisce about all of my wonderful memories made with stitching friends over the years. When I see their initials on my pieces, it's always important to really personalize your work because it does make that connection. It does bring those memories come around again, and our stitching friends and our time stitching and the togetherness we have with them at retreats or in someone's home, or even just thinking about our friends stitching on our own, are just such treasured memories and hold such importance to us as needleworkers. And it really gives, I don't know, a history to your work that you wouldn't have if you did not personalize your work and, have it there for generations to come. Hopefully my children will want these things, but if not, somebody will have some great treasures they find at Goodwill someday. They'll be doing the happy dance. Okay, so this is another piece. This is called the Strawberry Band Box. Honestly, I don't really know. There's a needle case that goes with this, like a sewing case that holds scissors and such. I don't know why it's not in this box. I don't know. This was a really fun stitch. We stitched this as a group also. These strawberries in here, let me take out some of the little extra doodads. These strawberries in here are all done with queen stitch. And I don't know what stitch the flowers are done with, but they look really cute. The strawberry bloom flowers really pop on this. But there is a little sewing case, and this was in a magazine that many of you might have. So like I said, Mary's things are mostly taught by classes, but she does have a lot of things in magazines, and I will go through those with you later so that you can see where you can find some of these treasures for yourselves. Okay, then here we have, oh, I love this one. This one I did for my husband. This is the Sailor's Husswith and Diddy Box, Diddy bag. This medallion on the top is not ivory. It was done on like a Corian or something. And actually, I bought that at a Nantucket basket class that I was taking, but I thought it was perfect to mount on this box. Wait till I show you this little treasure. It's just super. So here's the Diddy Box, and we've got the Sailor's Husswith. So here's the Husswith. I'll get into this. Okay, this is all lined with silk. It's stitched in silks. Check that out. These are all little pockets here. Pockets in the Husswith. And then here's the back. And if you look at the flowers, they are kind of matching across from each other. It was used with, I believe, a thread gatherer silk, but like down here, this flower is the mirror image of that flower, and so forth, going up and down the vine. And on the back of this, it says, I gaze to see each morn and eve, where's might thy ship to be. My heart awaits the joyous day, safe journey back to me. And so I put my first initial, my husband's first initial, and then D for Duffin. And I wrote on this, wrought in the year 2000, Lisa Lyons Duffin, her needlework in the 40th year of her age, for her beloved husband, Robert Duffin. Think of me. Here, I'll show this to you again. It really bears seeing again. It's quite the treasure. I love these little mirrors that Mary had us put in, and all of that was very clearly explained in her directions. So then, as if this wasn't enough, she had some little accessories that you could stitch. Mary enjoys making chatelaines and sewing boxes. So here's a sweet little chatelaine. It has a little fish pin keep, a little button bag there, a little thimble bucket, and then in here there is a pocket with these beautiful rosette tufted medallions on the side. So of course, like I've shown you with other things that I've stitched, we always like to collect all little nautical based things, then sailor based things to go in them. And here I have some little fish bodkins and a fish button. Too cute. So that's the sailor's Huzzah. Oh, and this is really cool. This is a little magnifying glass that I found of a fish. All tucked in here with my sailor's Huzzah. Oh, and look at this. This is a big fish needle case. His head screws off. Look at that. Really cool. So these pieces have been so much fun to do, and I just really am happy to be able to share them with you here today. All right, moving right along. Oh, this one is one of my favorites. This is the Swan Lake mending bag. Look how cute this is. Back here it says, "How gentle is the breeze that nurtures thy soul." And on here I have my husband's initials, my children's initials. And we took this class in Buffalo at the Exemplary Needlework Guild. In fact, the Exemplary Needlework Guild is hosting Mary September of 24. She will also be there via Zoom this September, but sign up for that class is over. But she will be teaching for the Guild in September of 24, and I will put contact information in the show notes of how to join the Guild, because it would be great for you to take advantage of a class from Mary. I'm assuming, I don't know details on it. I don't even really know what she's teaching. I just found it out from the Guild that she will be teaching there. But it might be something you look into, that maybe you can participate in the class. So here it says, "In the merry month of May, Lisa Lyons Duffin by her hand in 2001. Look at these cute little button feet. Now you could do that with finishing things yourself. And let me see what it says on here. Oh, we called it 2001 A Swan Odyssey, the 18th of May, Buffalo, New York, the Exemplary Needle Guild. And then again, the initials of my friends that I took the class with. But this little beauty opens up some more. Look at that beautiful red toile. So here's a needle case. And Mary supplied some vintage linen for us to use for our needle case pages. And then over here is some little pockets. It's been a long time since I've looked in here, so this is really fun for me too. Oh, here's a little ruler case. Let me see. What do we have in here? I think it's a ruler. Oh, yeah, right. Oh, thread winders. They're little scrimshaw thread winders and a ruler. And there's also a scissor fob. So cute. And then here's the box that we lined, and of course found some little toile pieces to go in it. There's a swan, and then there's our lined box. Here's a little swan, another swan pincushion that we found. It's really fun to look for all these little extras that you can get to put into your case, to put with your set. We would always go on these missions to find things, and then somebody would find something, and this is really kind of in the early stages of the internet and what have you, and some of it was before the internet, but we would just search and search until we found enough accessories for all of the friends to put into their box. So that's my Swan Lake. Okay. So, 2005. This is Birds and Berries Sewing Case and Accessories. This is another one. Sometimes we get snagged in completing things. This one's really cute. This little tray. There's a little scissor keep. And a little tiny little pin keep. And okay, this is 2005. Okay, here's the sewing case that goes with it. I just have not finished putting it together. I really don't know why I stopped, but you can be sure I will finish now. These are all the little pieces and parts for it. I do know why I stopped on this. Why I didn't continue, I don't know. It was a finishing class at a guild meeting, and somebody had gummed up the bottom of the iron. And this is all silk fabric, and I didn't want to deal with a gummed up iron, so I just stopped. But I didn't intend to stop for all these years. Anyway, stay tuned. I will get back to my birds and berries. Mary, I'm so sorry that I haven't finished some of these things, but I will. Okay. This one was fun. This one was from 2006. And this was called Flowers in the Fall. And this was from a Shepherd's Bush retreat. Mary came to teach at the Shepherd's Bush retreat. Kind of funny story. This all goes in this box. Again, lined with silk. The Shepherd's Bush retreat was a Halloween themed retreat. And in the beginning of class, Mary said that she had agreed to teach at the retreat. And then when she found out that it was Halloween, she told Terry and Tina, she's like, oh, I don't do Halloween. But she did do fall, and she did it quite beautifully. This is a beautiful Dupioni silk bag that we created. And then inside is this little box with a bird, stitched flowers, pins in the bird's tail. Now, I do remember that when Mary finished this, she had it backed with linen, but I bought some overdyed wool that I used on the back of mine, and this has some pipe cleaner in it so that you can shape the leaves somewhat. Really cute. So it's like a little sewing bird on top of the box. And Mary said that she herself painted and painted all of these boxes. So what's inside of here? Oh, I should have known. A little sewing case. Look how tiny that is. Yeah, this is fun to open up these things because I haven't in years. And then there's some little tiny little scissors. A thimble, some thread winders, and I bought these from Mary. These were little tiny vials with some hooks and eye and little vintage buttons. So cute. You know, I think I'm going to start using these sewing sets. When I go to a class or something, I think I'm going to take one with me because why have them all locked up in the box? We can just use it and enjoy it again. So there's flowers in the fall. Okay, then moving right along. This was another shepherd's bush retreat. This one's called Her Necessaire. Again, with these little rosette medallions. I think that's what they're called. So another shepherd's bush retreat. My dates might not correspond with the year that it was taught because I dated them when I stitched them. So I didn't always get to everything right then. As you can see, some things I still need to get to. So this, Her Necessaire. Shepherd's Bush had a Renaissance theme retreat one year, and I know that Mary taught this there. So this has a little firm, let me see if you can see it. Inside, oh, not really. There's like a little firm tray that we created on the inside, and this sewing case slipped inside of that. So this says her scissors, her aid memoir. This was a little notebook. I could really use an aid memoir right now. I'm getting to the age that I forget things. Her pins and her needles. So cute. So cute. Okay. Oh, this is a fun piece. This here is another one that I haven't completed the whole thing, but this was the Memphis sewing box. And there is a chatelaine, the Memphis chatelaine, to go inside of this, which I haven't stitched. I have to dig that out because this was really fun to stitch. So this has actually 2 pockets. There's 2 pockets here. Let me see if you can see the inside of that. You know, Mary has queen stitches on a lot of things, and she made me really not be afraid of queen stitches anymore. So here this says, wrought by Lisa Lyons Duffin, rejoice with needle in thy hand, may virtues and honor forever stand. And this was in 2006. But there was a special piece that goes with this. Mary really hasn't done, well, to the best of my knowledge, I don't think she has, a lot of samplers. But right here, you might have seen it peeking in the back. This is the Memphis Sampler. There you go. I'll see if I can zoom in on it here. This was so much fun to stitch. It is such a beauty with the silk ribbon ruching and the rosettes in the corner. And then I hem stitched it, and Jill Rensel in Ogden, Utah did the framing for me on this piece, and she mounted it on some suede mat board. And let me read what this says. Oh, it says the same thing that's in the box. Rejoice with needle in thy hand, may virtues and honor forever stand. Work from thy hands brings joy to thy heart. This was in the 47th year of my age in 2007. But let me show you this again. This really bears seeing again. I love the frame too. But this Memphis Sampler, I think she calls it the Memphis Sampler because I think Mary originally taught it in Memphis. So now I'll have to dig out the Memphis Chatelaine and get going on that too. I'll tell you, probably like all of you, my desire to stitch is far greater than my time. It's something I think about all the time. I just can't wait to pick up my needle every day. So that's that. Memphis Sampler. Then moving right along, we have the diminutive sewing set. Oh, this is another piece that I haven't finished completing. It all goes in this little cutie of a box. I did buy some little accessories that Mary had to go in it. Some threads, tiny, tiny thread winders. Here's all the pieces for the case that I have to put together. Boy, shame on me. I really need to get this put together. They're also tiny. That's why I guess she called it diminutive. Here's for a scissor case. And I think that's for a pin cushion. So it says, stitched in the merry month of May. Years ago, when travel was a lot easier for Mary, she would go to the Exemplary Needle Guild in Buffalo and in May, and we'd always call it the merry month of May. So this is part of this little sampler I know gets rolled up, backed, and then rolled up in the little sewing bag that you made. But I know at the time I didn't want to just have this little sampler disappear into a little bag. So even though I haven't finished this, oh, here's a picture of the way it all goes. So even though I haven't finished this, I did stitch that sampler twice. And I have this framed. So let me see what this says on here. It just has 2 alphabets, and then it says her stitches and a sampling of some different stitches. And then it says Lisa L. Duffin, her sampler worked in the 46th year of her age, a stitch in time. But look at some of those beautiful stitches. So sweet. Okay, so that's another piece I have to get to. One thing also in preparing for this video, I really had to unearth a lot of Mary's things. I have them all over my house, And then I realized that I do still have some of her kits that I haven't stitched. So it's really kind of revved me up to get going on some of those things. Okay, so here's another piece. All right, this just says, a friend so dear, and then had initials of friends. This was my friend Tamara and me. And actually, this is one of the giveaways I have today. Mary so generously donated a few things, and the little kit for this is one of the giveaways. So I'll get to that later, but I just want to show you how you can incorporate a little design like this. My original one that has the edging like that, I gave away at some point in time, but I wanted to stitch it again. So here it is again, and I just put pins on the side, put forget-me-not fabric on the back. So a little design like this, you can really incorporate into something that looks so much bigger. So what I did is I found this little glass box, probably a TJ Maxx. It was at TJ Maxx. And I have this heart in there. And then I made a little pincushion cone. I made little flower pins to go in the top. And then this little pottery, little tiny little thing, actually had an itty bitty little candle in it. It came in like a 5-pack of these itty bitty little candles. So I burnt them all and then stuck a wool ball in there and made a tiny little pin cushion. And then here's a tiny little tatted little piece that I keep in here, but this really makes a sweet little display like this. It's kind of hard to show it because it's all going to dump to one side. But there's lots of things you can do to make a little design go a long way and really show off your work in such a sweet way. Okay, then this was another class that I took in Buffalo. And this was called A Beautiful Day in Williamsburg. And this mat just sits here in the box, but it's all covered on the back with ultra suede. So in this class, Mary encouraged us to put things significant to us. Up in the top part here, we could chart and stitch really whatever we wanted to. If it was a family name, we could do that. But in mine, I put blessings because I took this class with friends and I put their initials on it. And then I also put the initials of my husband and children because my friends and my family are the blessings in my life. So here, I was living in Winchester, Virginia at the time. It's in here somewhere. There's a little, what is this? A little Needlebook? Oh, another little aid memoir. And then we made these little memory books. And all the friends we took the classes with signed in here. In fact, here Mary wrote, "Lisa, I love seeing you and stitching with you." And like I told you, when this makes me emotional, it really makes me think of all the good times that I've had with my stitching friends over the years. Here's a tiny little scissor fob. I just love this little tray. And again, here's more of those rosettes in the corner. They just add such a little special little touch to these pieces. Okay, so here's another piece. This was Ophelia Witherspoon. I believe Mary premiered this class on a cruise. Now, I didn't take the cruise, but I did take this class. There was someone named Janine, who I've heard that Janine recently passed away, that used to have seminars in the wintertime in Williamsburg. And this was well before I moved to the Williamsburg area. But Ophelia was a class. Mary had these dolls made, and then we constructed a dress for Ophelia. It didn't happen in class. I just couldn't get it all together in class. But we made, sorry, Ophelia, I'm showing your panties. We made her little pantaloons and slip. And then here's a tiny little silver chatelaine that Ophelia has. So Ophelia then came with all of her accessories. So look at this little shaker box that Ophelia has. And I will show you. We created a little sewing roll for Ophelia. Whoops. Boy, that's a tiny one. Super cute. I haven't been in this in a long time. Oh, look, there's her tiny little scissors, threads. And then here's a pencil. Look how cute this is. A little darning egg. A tiny little ruler. And a little thread winder. Here, my fingers seem like they're huge on this. So they all fit into her little shaker box. So then Mary really went all out with this. Ophelia had her travel trunk. And in class, they might have, I think the boxes were painted already. I think they were. But we put the different travel stickers on for Ophelia and line the box. You know, and I think this, I don't think this, I know this is where my little love of having little dollies with me when I stitch came. It came from Mary, because this Ophelia just stole my heart. So here's one of Ophelia's samplers. And this is tiny. This is stitched over one. I believe this, it's at least 40 count. So cute. So then there was another class. Mary just didn't leave it at Ophelia and her travel trunk. There was another class where we did Ophelia's quilts and her sampler book. Okay, so here's her lessons. And so we did pages of one of those sampler books that girls used to do. That was kind of their resume to show what they could stitch. So here was surface embroidery. Ophelia's marking sampler. Ophelia's buttonhole stitching. Ophelia's cross stitching. And her hem stitching. So we did that. And then we also did a little memory book for Ophelia. And this was so that when Ophelia traveled, she could have her memories in here. So this said, Ophelia's journey begins Williamsburg, Virginia, February 9th through 15th, 2007. And then so here I said that Ophelia traveled to a class in Buffalo. And here she took another journey in 2008. So once again, this is a piece that I don't have things finished with. This is a nice oval box from Orleans Carpenters. And I think they stopped making this. I think it was a glove box. But there's also a sewing case that goes in here. And there's little quilts for Ophelia also. And I think there's another sampler. So another thing I have to do. So anyway, this was Ophelia. Okay, kids, there's more. So this one, Sweet Little Blossoms, is from another Shepherd's Bush class. Again, I finished this bag. The little tatted medallion was not part of the kit, but I found that and then mounted the little stitched medallion on top of that. Then I also made little berry buttons. I took a bead and then made some tufted silk and made the little pull strings on my bag. These are all simple little things that you can do too to some of your finishes. But this one's really cute. So this is, what I say, little berries, sweet little berries, sweet blossoms. What do I call this one? Oh, Sweet Little Blossoms. So here you go. This is also another one of my favorites. So here's the whole bit. And this says, again, my name and then her work in 2008. Here's the little needle case. And on the back, it says, my precious loves, and again has my family's initials. And then on the inside is the needle pages. And again, I think I shared this in my video that I showed the George and Martha by Paulette Stewart, how I found a tag on clothing that said George and Martha. So I took it off and then put it on the back of my George and Martha that I stitched from Plum Street. Well, here, this little tag that says forever, I just thought it went so well with this piece. And I sewed this, took it off the clothes, sewed this onto here, and it was the perfect size to slip my little scrimshaw ruler in there. So that was really fun. So here's the whole case opened up. And then there's a little pin disc. And here you can see the inside of the box a little better. This was a little thread palette that was, I believe this was an extra you could buy. Of course, I had to have it. And then this was the little scissor case. Sweet little blossoms, colorful bee, all thy love I give to thee. I just love Mary's little verses and poems. So in here I have scissors. And there you go. Sweet little blossoms. Oh boy, I'm gonna have a heck of a time putting all this stuff away later on. Okay, moving right along. There's still a few more pieces. This one was from 2009. This one was called a colonial sewing set. And this was kind of different, a different thing for Mary. This is a paper mache box that we threaded the ribbon through. Stitched this little pocket. This again was in buffalo. And this says, kindness in thy heart, indeed. And then it says, her friend, Lisa L. Duff in her work, and then her friend, DMG. And that's my friend, Debbie, that I would go to visit in Buffalo when I would go up for the classes. So then Debbie and I went ahead and made this little book. We put our pictures in and wrote a special little note to each other. And Debbie's dog, Sophie, would never leave our side when we stitched. So we have Sophie's picture in there as well. Oh boy, and that's me. That's me before I went gray. This is a long time ago. This is a long time ago. So then there was this little box. It's a little bit dusty here. This little box that we stitched also. And we went ahead and lined this, made the lid, and that holds a little thimble. So much fun. And then I went in actually in an antique shop recently. I found this little, I'm not sure if it's a photo or a painted over photo or what it is, but I found this and I like to set this in my little box with this. You can always find sweet little sentimental things to put into your sewing sets just to offset them and to just make them that much more enjoyable for you and to just give that whole nice little feel about it. Okay, I have a few more pieces here. This piece is from 2009 and this is called Off to Williamsburg. It's a little sewing box, pocket. And then I found this little silver magnifying glass with this lady on it. And this little case here. And this says, Lisa Lyons Duffin is my name, and off to Williamsburg I do the same. Stitch all day, dusk till dawn, sampler stitches are thy bond. Wrought this 26th day of June, 2009. And I stitched this for my daughter. On the spine of it, I put Fairfield, and then there's numbers here, and they're actually like archaeological marker numbers. My daughter, as a rising senior in high school, came to Williamsburg and she did an internship at an archaeological dig. And then she also did a history program that was a pre-collegiate program at William and Mary, and she ended up going to William and Mary for college. So I stitched this for my daughter, and here's the cute little inside. Your needle pages, and then for scissors. And there's a little silver slipper there. I'm seeing it's a little hard to show just the true beauty of all of these pieces, but all of you stitch, you get it. You get it, and these are just such treasures to me. And I have a table in my house when you first come in my entryway, and a number of these shaker boxes are all stacked on my table. And sometimes people come in, and that Memphis Sampler is on the wall behind that little table. And sometimes people come in and they start admiring my needlework, and then they always say, wow, you know, that's a lot of shaker boxes. And then I start to show them what's in the shaker boxes. And it's really fun to go back and see what's in them. And then they really just can't believe that all of these things are just hiding in these boxes. But it's fun. It's fun. I know they're there, and I just love it. So here's another one. This is Milady's Petite Sewing Box. This class, there's another one that Mary did that had grapes on it. It was primarily a deep purple and green. I haven't stitched that one yet, but this is Milady's Petite Sewing Box, and we created this whole box. There was little mat board pieces that we used to construct the box. There's little button feet on the bottom of the box. And so honestly, I did this box in honor of my kitties. At the time, I had 2 cats. I had my one cat, Snickers, who she passed away when she was 18. And Snick just thought I was the greatest. Every night when I went to bed, she'd come flying into the room, boomerang off my husband, hop into bed, and she'd sleep right on top of my head, on my pillow, right on top of my head. And in the summertime, she always had to be touching me. In the summertime, she would stretch out her paw and have it on my shoulder. But in the wintertime, she would curl up like right here next to my neck. And I would just hear her sweet little purr all night. And she was such a sweetheart. So that was my cat, Snickers. So this says here, wrought by her hand in the year 2010. Her home is Winchester, Virginia. Again, that's when I lived in Winchester. And here's a little cushion. 2010. I found this little purse pin cushion. A little sweet pin disc. And so on the front here, it said, no, on the back, Milady's cat is Snickers. Oh, I had 3 cats at the time. And it said here, her other cats are Jasmine and Latte. And you know, again, like I talked about having the initials of your stitching friends, sadly, all of those sweet little kitties are gone now, but I have them saved in my stitches. So this little needle case, here it is. And on the back, I stitched Jasmine. Jasmine was a black tuxedo cat, so there's Jasmine. Latte. We named her Latte because when we first got her, she was kind of like an off-white color and had a little bit of nutmeg, little reddish brownie color on her back and on the tips of her ears. She kind of looked like a latte that was sprinkled with nutmeg. So we named her Latte. And so that's how she got her name. And also in this precious little box is a tiny little scissor fob. and thread winder and scrim ruler once again. But look how adorable this box is, and the construction was really not difficult. So I have to go ahead and do the grape one also. Oh, so much stitching. But now I'm really motivated to do some of these things. So here, once again, Milady's Petite Sewing Box. All right. Here's another one that's up there with my favorites. This is La Nouveau Palais Royal. And this was, again, a class that was taught in Buffalo. This bag is made out of silk rosettes. We've done some surface embroidery on the front of this little bag. And wait till you see this. Oh, here's a little mother of pearl button. Check out this little precious little box. Okay, so this opens like this. So this was why she called it a Nouveau Palais Royal. This was done kind of in the style of the very sought after Palais Royal sewing boxes that have all kinds of mother of pearl and ivory kind of goodies in them. So this on here says, Lisa Lyons Duffin, her work, wrought April 29th, 2011, in her 51st year. Okay, I'm getting up there now. And I stitched this. I know I started this and was working on this because the class, when we took the class, it was a finishing class. So I was working on this the day that Kate and William got married. So I was watching that on TV and I was stitching on this. So here, when we take off this little lid, there's all these little treasures in here. There's a scrimshaw ruler, thread winders, tiny little scissors. But then, as if this isn't enough, this lifts out. This is all lined with ultra suede. Then look at this. Other little goodies in here. These are two little pin cushions on the side. A little floral pin disc. And then a spot for a special needle on the back. So I found some tiny little treasures to go inside of this. And then I found these buttons. These I just found at like Joann's, but I thought they kind of looked cute on a silk ribbon on here. And then here's a little vial of buttons that I purchased from Mary. Let me see if I can give you a better look at the inside of this. Yes, this was a fun class. Oh, and in the class, I believe Mary had a little contest that you could win one of these game pieces, and I won. So there it is once again, the Nouveau Palais Royal. Okay. I'll just put this off to the side here. A couple more things here. This one actually wasn't a class. This was a kit that Mary had a few for sale at one of her classes. And this was a collaboration with Liberty Hill. Liberty Hill, I don't know if any of you have them, but Liberty Hill would paint these wonderful prim-looking boxes. So Mary did this tombstone angel, which honestly I was surprised because, again, like earlier I said, she wasn't into Halloween, and tombstone angels aren't really Halloween, but I was just really surprised she did this, but I love it. And I do make a little display on my mantle for the holidays, and I always put this out at Halloween. So this little box opens up, and there's little accessories here that I'll show you as well. This is a little scissor holder. This unsnaps and holds the scissors. So this just says 2011 Williamsburg. This holds pins. This is a little needle sleeve. This is all ultra suede, and then we stitch the piece to go on the front. And then in here, I put some old keys. There's a few little petite keys. Can you see them in there? And some pins. But this was a fun little piece. Oh, and I found this little Kelmscott needle minder with a tombstone angel on it. So again, collecting the little things that go in the boxes really just makes it that much more fun. And sometimes, you know, like the little picture that I found for this box, I stitched this box years ago, but I just found this little picture recently. It just makes it fun. I know I've said that a lot, but once these classes get under your skin, or once you start thinking in that way, it's kind of hard to stop thinking in that way, and I really don't want to, because I love it. So here's another piece here. This was called So Dear to Thy Heart. This I stitched in 2012. Again, this was a class in Buffalo. So we did sew the little bag that day. And then here's another one of those. I think it's the glove box, like I mentioned. And this has a little overlay that protects what's underneath. And this says, So Dear to Thy Heart, wrought by Lisa Lyons Duffin in thy year 2012 for Erin. And again, Erin is my daughter. So this lady is very, very sweet. She's all done over one. And then her dress has some different pattern stitching in it. But Mary's stitching directions are fantastic, and she just totally walks you through everything. So here's the inside of the box. There's little, here, let me show you everything, and on the sides, there's little bits that hold thimbles. Little buckets for the thimbles. And again, the box so beautifully lined. So here was a little thread palette. That was an extra to buy. Here's some little thread that matched it that Mary had for sale. Here's some little buttons. And this case says, Lisa Lyons Duffin, her work in the 52nd year of her life, of age, with love for her precious Erin. And then it says on here, the College of William and Mary, Erin L. Duffin, 2012, because that's when she was in college. She was in college then. She graduated in 14. And here's the inside. And the scissors fell out. Really, really great times. And I'm really, honestly, kind of choking back some tears here, just going through everything and just reminiscing of how these designs have really influenced my life and my journey as a needleworker, and just bringing back so many fond memories for my friends and my family. Okay, so a few more things. Mary has also sold little kits for some sewing projects. This one, we just stitched this band. I think she had something on here about friendship, but I just did the alphabet. And this holds a little cutting board, and you can put your rotary cutter in here for a class. And her fabrics are always like those decorator fabrics. They're always really pretty cool. And then this was another little case kit that she sold. These weren't classes. These were extra little kits she sold at classes. And this one holds a tiny little cutting board and rotary cutter. And this is fun. This is fun. I've taken this to classes just for doing little bits of trimming up things if it's a finishing class. So it's always nice to have that with me. All right, so moving forward in my journey with Mary, this was a class that she did. I think it was for the Orange Coast Sampler Guild in California. Mary lives in California, in Clovis, California. And this was in 2022. I forget what this was called. Again, this was a little bit different style for Mary. She doesn't normally do things that are on such a dark linen, but I really enjoyed stitching this. Worked up pretty quickly, finished very easily. And this had a little horn book. I think the horn book was part of the class. I don't quite remember, or else I just had this and I did it. I think it was part of the class. And then on the inside, it says, wrought in the year 2022, her pins and needles safely kept. It's kind of dark. It's hard to see that. But I went ahead and lined the inside edge of the box. And then here's the little sewing case. And this is super sweet because the needles are on the back. And, oh, let's see if I can get this open. There we go. Look at that. So cute. This is actually a little tufted pin cushion there. And then Mary included with our kits a pack of needles, vintage needles. All right, so moving ahead, I did find as I was unearthing things to do this video today, it really took me quite a while to prepare for this. I found some other classes of hers that for whatever reason, I just never got to. I mean, there was changes in my life with jobs, with children, children's activities, different moves I've made. And sometimes those classes, they just don't happen, you know, getting the things stitched. So like I said, you guys have really inspired me in doing my floss tubes to get some of these things finished. So there was a class that I took a few years back. This is called a Young Ladies Workbox. And again, this was a collaboration with Liberty Hill. And I did have to do this because this, it's not stitched yet, but I've started collecting the little, doodads for it. But Mary said it was from the DeWitt School of Needlework. So now that you know, it's a workbox for this fictional person from the DeWitt School of Needlework. Well, living in Williamsburg, there's the DeWitt Wallace Museum has a lot of the artifacts from Williamsburg. So I figured this is just something that I have to stitch. So I made this project bag to keep everything in, and I'm still working on it. Here's the DeWitt School. And there's other pieces here that go with this. Let's see if I can, oh, here it is, a young lady's workbox. So these are all my directions, so stay tuned. So this says on the inside, let thy goodness shine through the clouds, thy light casts happiness with love aloud. So this will make a little box that goes inside this box. And here's a picture of it all finished. So stay tuned. This will happen. Here, you know what? Let me take this out of I put it all in plastic sleeves. So that's one thing that is still in the works. And then back right before COVID, Mary was supposed to go to Buffalo, to the Guild in Buffalo, to teach her Friendship Samplers 1 and 2. She had taught them at the attic. In fact, Mary will be at the attic, I think, in January or February of 24. So that might be something you want to look into. I forget the dates that she told me she'll be there, but she will be teaching in person at the attic in Mesa, Arizona, Jean Lee's store. So you might want to check into if you can have the opportunity to take a class with Mary then. So anyway, back before COVID happened, Mary was supposed to teach Friendship Samplers 1 and 2 at the Guild in Buffalo. Well, won't you know it, that was supposed to be in May. Everything closed down, as we all know, in March. So I was so disappointed because I really, really wanted to take this class. So they refunded everybody's money, but I was smart. I kept that money tucked aside, earmarked for this class. And in case it would ever surface again, it was, it was a fairly dear class to take because there was a lot of things to go with it. So I wanted to make sure that if I ever saw that class again, that I would be able to jump on it and take the class. Well, as good fortune would have it, last year, Mary taught this class on a Zoom and sent us this magnificent box of treasures to take the class. So, and friends kind of jokingly said, probably serious too, that this was a master's class in Mary Cox. So here's the whole Friendship Sampler 1 and 2 and accessories. They were based on samplers that friends did for each other, and they were similar but different. Here you can kind of see the samplers. Let me take away this. There you go. So again, my friend Debbie in Buffalo really hasn't been stitching so much anymore. We're all getting up there in age, and she's been having some bit of arthritis problems in her, I think, elbow and wrist or whatever, but she can still quilt and sew, sewing machine sew, but stitching has become very difficult for her. So she ended up not taking this class. But what we did want to do is I sent her the materials to stitch one of the Friendship Samplers. So she will do that for me, and then I will do the other one and send it to her. Because we've been fast friends. My daughter's now 31, and we have been fast friends since my daughter was an infant. And again, our stitching friends are so precious to us. Debbie and I met at a stitching event one night, and we just started chatting with each other. And that was well before the internet. We used to correspond with letters, good old-fashioned letters, and phone each other. But we'd always have to be careful. We'd set a timer when we would speak on the phone, because then they had message units and things. And calling long distance could really be kind of pricey. So our friendship goes back many, many years. So this is a base that came with the kit for finishing one of the pin cushions. And then there's a sewing case that has a little dolly that goes in it. So again, you've got me at the dollies, but this one is so sweet. I don't know where Mary got this little girl, but I just love her little like Princess Leia buns on the side of her head. So cute. So this is something you'll have to look out for in the future of me doing as well. So anyway, now that you've seen all these Mary Cox things, you're probably wondering, okay, well, Lisa, that's great, but if she's taught these things in classes and isn't teaching so much anymore, where can I find some of these things? Well, I have found them for you, and Mary shared with me publications that she has been in over the years, just so I didn't miss anything. And a lot of people have these publications, or you can find them pretty readily on the secondary stitching market. So I just want to share some of those with you of where you too can find Mary. And I bet you a lot of you already have some of these things on your bookshelves, in your sewing and craft rooms, and don't even realize it. So here we go. This was she's been published in Just Cross Stitch magazine a number of times, and Sampler and Antique Needlework. I know I have all of those issues. Really something I need to go back and revisit, because there's so many wonderful projects in those magazines that I used to pore over the magazine when I would get it. At the time this magazine was published, I wasn't into stitching samplers so much. I appreciated the history of the sampler, but never really stitched them. But now I want to go back and stitch some of these. So this was Ladies Sewing Roll, and this was in Antique Sampler Needlework. I think this spanned a few issues. At the time, you could order kits from Mary. I honestly don't know if she might have a few of them still laying around or if they're all gone. I don't really know. But the supplies it is doable to obtain the supplies. So this was Ladies Sewing Roll. And she's given me all the information about these issues that I will put in my show notes. So that was one of them. Here's some more. She did, in this Sampler and Antique Needlework, is that strawberry box. It was called Abide Thy Heart. That strawberry box that I showed you, that I have no idea what happened to the needle case. You know, it's probably, the needle case is probably in a project bag somewhere. So anyway, this is available and you might have it. And this is so precious, this piece. So that's one. This one, they show it on the cover, but I'll show you the piece. This is the Basket of Flowers pin keep, and it's right there. But Mary went on to put it in a little shaker box and then add some little accoutrements. In fact, you can often pick up these little vintage things. In fact, I just listed on Samplers Through Time website some little needle hairpin lace vintage pieces. So for sale, something, I don't do hairpin lace, but I know some people have, or they might like to put it in one of their little sewing boxes. But anyway, as far as filming time, it still wasn't sold. I don't really know if it will be by the time this gets posted. But just keep your eye out. You can find these things pretty readily in thrift shops or antique malls, and they're really not very pricey. The little bone laying tools and awls, you can really come across them fairly easily. So that's that one. This one is the Sail Away Needlebook. And this was done on one of those perforated paper things from Trisha Nguyen. I don't really know if they're still available. However, you could easily stitch this on perforated paper and adjust the border, you know, to be rectangular. So here's the page of that. So all these things that, you know, you, like I said, you might have on your bookshelf. This one, I haven't stitched this yet, but this, I'm fascinated by this piece. This is the shaker spool holder, designed after a shaker sewing kit. And this holds spools on the inside. Let me see if there's another picture. I don't want to show, no, I don't want to show the stitching part of it. But these are, again, from Sampler and Antique Needlework. And once again, I will reference the issues on my show notes. And I will hold up her note to me so that you could maybe even do a screenshot and then print it out to make it that much easier for yourself. So here is her needles safely kept. And this is another needle case in this Sampler and Antique Needlework. So cute. And this does show the inside. And on this says, Mary C. is my name, and Clovis, California is my dwelling place. My needles safely kept. This was from 2003. And then on the back it says, the wispy breeze of spring touches lightly upon the petals of hope. Isn't that so nice to put for springtime? With, as some people have such rough winters, but you know when you start seeing those petals come out that nicer weather is on the way. Okay, then Mary has also had some of her things in the Just Cross Stitch magazines, the ornament editions. So I have these, but they are tucked away with my Christmas ornaments. I wasn't going to dig through those. This one here is from 1997. Here we have one. This is from 1998. Right down here. Here is 1999. I mean, Mary just has a style that you can just pick it out. I'm starting to lose things here. This one is from 2000. Let me see where she is here. Oh, here she did a little red and white one. Here is one from 2001, again in the Just Cross Stitch Christmas Ornament magazines. That right over here. (2004) Christmas Ornament magazine. This one's cute. This one she did for when she had a granddaughter. Kind of right on the fold. It's sort of hard to see that. Right over here. her granddaughter Zara. When I was going through all these things, I found a birth announcement that Mary sent me when she became a grandma with her granddaughter Zara. Also, a lot of you I know have this book in your library, and this is the Sampler and Antique Needlework Volume 2. And she has the Rose Wreath Chatelaine in here. This is a beauty. All the instructions for this. So here I will hold up the reference. So if you want to do a screenshot, here, take a screenshot of this and you'll have all the information of where you can find some of these designs. Okay. And again, I'll post them. All right, so Mary, I think that pretty much takes me to the end of our journey here today on my merry-go-round. But like I said, I will be completing more of her pieces that I still have that I just, it's embarrassing. For some reason, I just haven't gotten to them. But Mary very, very generously donated some prizes for us here today. And what you'll do, I have 3 prizes. And so what you need to do, you have to be over 18 so I can get your address from you. You have to like and subscribe to my channel. I ask that you do that. And then leave in your comment a comment that includes a keyword. You don't have to get all clever with a sentence. It is kind of fun to read those though. But you can just say the keywords if you want to win these prizes. And I will give these away when I do my next floss tube. Okay, so Mary very generously donated this vintage pin keep. Kind of hard to see it in the bag, but it's really sweet. It's here. It's a mother and a baby, and it was actually a giveaway from the Prudential Insurance Company. I've seen others of these pin keeps in the past, but not like this. So Mary donated this for one lucky person, and so the keyword you would use in your comment would be pin keep. No, use vintage. Use vintage for this to get this pin keep. So use vintage. Then she donated 2 kits that are completely kitted with silks and ultra suede and linen and pins. This one here is little Americana pin cushion. All the supplies here on the back. That was so nice of her to donate these things. And so your keyword for this would be America. And then here's the heart pin keep that I showed earlier. And again, it comes with the finishing materials and silks and linen and all of that good stuff. And pins. And so your word for that is friend. So this would be friend, America, and vintage. So anyway, thank you all for watching. I really enjoyed sharing my things with you. Now, since I haven't knocked it over, I can have another sip of my bubbles. Lovely. And cheers to you, Mary. Thank you so, so much for inspiring my needlework journey over these years. I love to travel this journey with you. And now I see that I have plenty of things to keep me continuing my journey with you. I treasure you, Mary. I treasure your designs. I love you and your creativity. So thank you so very, very much. So friends, until the next time, may you find calm, joy, and relaxation in your stitches. Cheers.